Before coming here to Athens, I planned out a whole bunch of landmarks to visit in this city for 4 days, but since we've added Santorini at the last minute, I had to rearrange our schedule big time. So instead of 4 days, it became 2, and since we've already explored the Acropolis and most of the areas surrounding that part of the city on our first day, now being our last day, we'll explore the upper part of the city. Starting here at the Metropolitan Cathedral of Athens, which was conveniently just a few blocks away from our hotel. The Metropolitan Cathedral is probably the most important Orthodox church in Athens. It was constructed in 1842 and was completed in 1862. I've read that the marbles used for this building came from 72 demolished churches. The building is about 130 feet long, 65 feet wide, and 80 feet high. It's not as big compared to most of the churches I've seen throughout my travels, but it's the largest Orthodox church here in Athens. King Otto, who was the first king of Greece, and his wife Queen Amalia, dedicated this cathedral to the Annunciation of the Virgin Mary. If you're wondering, that's when the angel Gabriel told Mary that she would conceive and become the mother of Jesus. Inside the cathedral, you'll find tombs of 2 saints killed during the Ottoman Empire, and the marble square right in front of the building, you'll see the statues of Constantine XI, who was the last emperor of the Byzantine Empire, and the Archbishop Damaskinos, who was the Archbishop and the Prime Minister of Athens during World War II. Anyway, the Metropolitan Cathedral of Athens is used for important political ceremonies as well as weddings and funerals of famous people in Greece, making it one of the major landmarks of the city. So today, our first stop is this church. It is the oldest church here in Athens, or the largest. No, it's the largest church and the oldest Orthodox church in Athens. What's amazing is like this whole thing is like marble. Look at this. It's pretty nice. But yeah, we're gonna go inside and check it out. It's like frescoes, huh? Look at this. This place is pretty nice. Oh, somebody's like having a meeting back there. But it looks pretty old. It's quite different from a Catholic church, but it's kind of similar in the same way. Look at that. It's like stained glass windows, but not as like nice as the Catholic church is. But they have a dome right here. They have this like silver portrait of something. But this is their altar right here. I don't even know if you call it an altar, but or maybe it's that. Not quite sure. And one thing's also difference that I noticed is that they don't have an organ like most Catholic churches do. But it looks more like a palace. It's amazing. It's actually pretty small. It's not that big. But I wonder what's in there. I just noticed this. It's like made of marble. There's like a crown right here. But I'm really intrigued. Is the see that silver door right there in the middle? I think it can go in there. There's something in there. I knew coming here that Catholic and Orthodox are 2 different religions, but I really didn't know what the Orthodox Church believes in. So I did a little bit of research, and I found out that the word Orthodox came from the Greek words orthos and doxa, which means right belief. Orthodox is one of the 3 main Christian groups in the world. The other 2 are the Roman Catholic and Protestant. I've read that about 200 million people follow the Orthodox tradition, which are made of several governing churches that are united in faith, worship, and theology. They pretty much share the same belief with other Christian churches that Jesus is God, as well as his crucifixion and his resurrection. The only difference is their way of life, worship, and certain aspects of theology. So the church is called the Metropolitan Cathedral of Athens. But we just came out of the church, but around this church somewhere there's another church. It's a really small one. It's somewhere here. So this is the small church I was talking about. It's right next to that church right there. But I can't pronounce what it says or the name of the church, but I'll say it right now. This Orthodox church is called the Little Metropolis, or the Church of St. Eleutherius. You know, coming here, I thought it was built sometime in the 12th century, but as I've read, a lot of dates have been suggested that it's from the 9th century all the way to the 13th century. Well, the bottom line is, nobody knows exactly when this church was built. Anyway, one thing I know is that this was abandoned during the Greek War of Independence, where it served as a public library until 1863, when it was converted back into a church again. It looks pretty old. We're gonna go inside. So I just found out that this church was built in the 12th century. Wow, it's really small. I hope I can film in here. It doesn't have like a... Wow, look at that. It's all stone. The walls you see here are made of reused marble that measures about 25 feet long and 40 feet wide. I'm not sure how high this church is, but it does have a dome. Originally, this whole entire interior was decorated with frescoes. I'm not sure what happened to it, but only one survives today, which is the image of the Virgin Mary located over the apse. Anyway, I don't know how many people can fit inside here at one time. It must be really tight when they come and worship here. It's amazing to think that despite being so small, this church was once a mosque, a public library, and now an Orthodox church. It's pretty cool. I saw somebody praying for this. They put a candle, and then after that, they came here and then took some bread. Interesting. Yeah, that church was pretty crazy. It's like really small inside, but it's all made of marble. But this is actually really close to our hotel. Our hotel is just down the street, maybe like 2 blocks away. But now we're gonna head to this street called Plaka. It's like a popular street with like restaurants and stuff and shopping stores. But we're gonna head out, and it's gonna be that way. We're gonna head down there right now and have breakfast. So we're at Plaka right now. Oh, once you go in, that's Plaka. This building looks really old. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna go in here and look for, or have breakfast. We've already explored some parts of this area on my last video, and all I can say is that the Plaka, being the oldest historical district in Athens, is definitely one of the most beautiful parts of the city in my opinion. It's like, this is Greece. Or this is Athens. It's like little streets and stuff. I guess this is really what Athens looks like when you walk around in this district. But we're gonna go deeper though inside, so we hope to see more beautiful streets like this. So we're gonna find a place to eat here. I hope they're open because it looks like they're just starting to open. But all the way up here there's like restaurants and stuff, so we'll see if we can find a place to eat breakfast here. So walking up the steps, at the very top we came to this restaurant. You see, most of the restaurants around here were still closed, but this one just opened, so we ended up having breakfast here. It's funny, I noticed some restaurants here, they have this guy standing outside convincing people to come and eat at their restaurant. They even give away business cards. Anyway, the guy at this place didn't really need to convince us. We pretty much had no choice. Anyway, for breakfast, we both ordered a special omelet, and with it, she had the Greek coffee, and for me, I decided to get tea. That's Greek coffee. Look at that. What is that? It's like some kind of like treat.
I get a treat with my coffee.
Mine is just green tea, nothing special, or like a black tea, nothing special. If you're wondering, Greek coffee is basically the same as Turkish coffee. It's finely grinded coffee beans brewed in a specific style of coffee pot called briki. Although it can be served sweet, but Greek coffee is pretty much known for its rich and very strong flavor. So I'm gonna try the Greek coffee. I don't drink coffee at all. I mean, I know what it tastes like, but to be honest, I don't really care much about coffee. I just wanted to try it because I was kind of curious, because it looks like hot chocolate to me. It looks very thick and creamy. Anyway, after a couple of sips, I have to say the coffee was really strong. I mean, pretty much every coffee to me is strong, but this one was way stronger than most. It's very bitter and it had a lot of ground bits of coffee in there, which I think it shouldn't have. I think you're supposed to let it settle before drinking it. Anyway, if you ask me, I still prefer tea over coffee. It has like almost like bits and pieces of stuff in there.
The grains.
Yeah, there's like little
Or the grounds.
yeah, there's like little grounds in there. So this right here is the special omelet. On the menu, it says it has ham, cheese, mushrooms, peppers, and onions. And as you can see, it definitely had some tomatoes as well. I know you can find different kinds of omelets all over the world, but to my surprise, I found out that omelet originated in ancient Persia, which is now Iran. Of course, it wasn't called omelet back then. I believe they called it kuku zabzi. People only started using the French word omelet in the mid-16th century. Anyway, many variations of this dish exists, and this one is probably the most common one. Before taking my first bite, I wanted to see what it looked like inside and just to see if I had everything in there. Well, somehow it didn't have any mushrooms or peppers, which was a bit disappointing, but it's okay. You know, I normally like ketchup on my omelet. I don't know why, I just do. But since it had some tomatoes, it should be fine. So the omelet was not bad. The onions was a nice touch. Now, if I had some mushrooms and peppers on that bite, it would have probably tasted better. I mean, the egg was seasoned just right, and I could taste the ham where it's enough to balance the flavor out, but there's nothing really special about this. To be honest, I've had better. I think the best omelet I've had was the crab omelet my mom made, because she used real crab with that one. Anyway, after digging around this omelet, I found out it actually had some mushrooms and peppers. It was just not enough. It would have been nice if they added more, but I'm not complaining, it was still good. You know, speaking of omelets, there's one kind of omelet that I've been wanting to try. I think it's called omu rice, which you'll find in Japan. It's basically an omelet stuffed with rice and then drenched with Japanese curry. That's something I'll definitely try if I ever go back to Japan. Anyway, after finishing our breakfast and as we were about to leave, our waiter gave us this drink. I did ask him what it was, but I couldn't remember what he said. It's exactly the same drink we had on our first night here. The drink was pretty strong, but it had a nice sweet flavor to it. I looked it up and I found out that it could be one of these drinks right here. It's funny, this is the second time we were offered this drink for free. It might be a coincidence, but I think it's just part of their culture. I noticed that the majority of the people here, they're really nice and warm. They make you feel welcome. So after breakfast, we headed here. This is called the Tower of the Winds. It's gated, so I'm pretty sure we have the tickets for it. So we're gonna go in and get up close and personal with that tower right there. But if you're wondering, that up there is the Parthenon, or at least that temple next to the Parthenon. By the way, the tickets we bought the day before cover this site right here. This is the Roman Agora, and the structure you see here is the Gate of Athena Archgethes. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but it was constructed in 11 BCE and most likely served as the gate of the Roman Agora. The Roman Agora, located near the Acropolis, was once the main marketplace of Athens. It was Julius Caesar and Augustus who funded the construction of the market sometime in the 1st century BC. Merchants and sellers sold all sorts of goods and provisions here. It's where bankers, businessmen, artists, politicians, you name it. Everyone would gather here and discuss or do business with each other. Anyway, this square measures about 370 feet long and 316 feet wide. You'll find a few ancient structures or buildings here, and one of them is the Tower of the Winds, which I mentioned earlier. Okay, so this is the Roman Agora. I found out it's a marketplace. It's an old marketplace back then in the Roman times. And it's pretty much nothing now. See? But we're here because we're gonna go to the Tower of the Wind. That's it. I guess this place used to have marble floors. I still see pieces of it right here. So this is the Tower of the Winds I was talking about. It's basically a marble clock tower shaped into an octagon. I've read that this tower had 8 sundials, a wind vane, and a water clock. It's not sure when this tower was built. Some say it was around 50 BC, and others say it's from the 2nd century. Who really knows? I'm just impressed that they actually used this as a clock tower back then. In fact, it's even considered to be the first weather station in the world. Well, thanks to the wind vane it featured. Anyway, at some point, it became a bell tower and then a tiki during the Ottoman rule. Alright, so I'm right in front of the tower, which is like 50 BC. was built that old. It's like really old. And I'm gonna try and see what's inside. Or I should say I should go in and see what's inside. Oh, look at this. This is like made of like marble. Kind of looks like wood, but it is marble. There used to be a water clock or clepsydra in here. I'm not sure what it looks like, but it's some kind of a clock that measures time using the flow of water. They said the water from the Acropolis would flow down here. It's hard to imagine what it must have looked like or how it worked, but it's pretty amazing to think that they created something like this just to figure out what time it is. But the smell of the olives, man, is really like strong out here. So from here, we made our way to the next landmark, passing through this street which is called Pandrosu, if I'm pronouncing that right. This shopping street is popular with the tourists because you'll find stalls selling souvenirs, jewelry, clothes, books, and even furniture. I mean, the street is not that big, but you'll pretty much find everything here. It's like different kinds of stores and stuff. Wow. Anyway, connected to this street is this square. This is called the Monastiraki Square. It's a flea market located here in the Old Town section of Athens. Considered as a major tourist attraction, this square is one of the main shopping centers in the city. It's full of stores and shops selling everything you can imagine. You also find restaurants and cafes scattered all around here. So we made it here to the Monastiraki Square. This is like a popular square here in Athens. But we came here really for this. Right behind me is a church or a mosque. It's one of the landmarks here. This is the Titsarakis Mosque. This Ottoman mosque was built by Titsarakis, who was the Ottoman governor of Athens in 1759. I've read that he used one of the pillars of an ancient structure to build part of this mosque. It could be the temple of the Olympian Zeus we saw the day before, or Hadrian's Library, which we'll go to after this. Anyway, this violated the Sultan's orders, as well as the superstitious beliefs at that time in regard to destroying ancient temples. And because of that, the Sultan banished Titsarakis and eventually had him assassinated. Today, this mosque serves as a museum of Greek folk art, and is located here at the Monastiraki Square. So this is the mosque I was talking about. It's not a mosque anymore, it's like an art museum now. And right next to the mosque is the Hadrian's Library, which is where we're gonna go. So this is Hadrian's Library I was talking about. Well, this is actually the west wall of the library. You see, the library, built in 132 AD, was the largest in Athens. It had a courtyard complete with a garden and a pool, surrounded with high walls you see here. Not only did the library store books, as well as legal and administrative documents, it's also where they held lectures in various teaching schools, such as philosophy. Anyway, throughout the centuries, many buildings were built within the library, such as churches, administration and residential buildings, a mosque, a fortress, as well as an army barracks and a prison. Well, because of that, the original structure of the library has long disappeared, but excavations that started in the late 19th century began clearing most of the buildings here, in the hopes to restore parts of the library to its original form. So today, you'll see some parts of the original library, as well as remnants of various churches that was once built here. Oh, and as we were walking inside the complex, we came across this small museum. I'm not sure what it's called, but it exhibits marble statues, marble heads, and a few pottery. Most likely, it's probably what they discovered during the excavations. Anyway, this whole complex is pretty big. Too bad all you can see now are just ruins. I can only imagine what it must have looked like. It was probably amazing. After this, we're gonna go to this street called Pitake Street. I don't know, I think it's a popular street. And then we're gonna go to a flea market after that, because it's right next to each other. Look, while we're walking around, we spotted a turtle. Look at that. Here, let me zoom on this guy. I don't know if somebody's pet, huh?
Oh, look at this pomegranate tree.
He's eating all the olives. See? It's not only an ancient temple and a library, but it's also a zoo. Look at that. Not far from here, we came to see this street called Pitake Street. You can't see it because the street is right behind this bus. What's special about the street is that it was once a filthy and poorly lit alley that people avoided, but it all changed when it was decorated with different kinds of lamps, which made the street beautiful and appealing to walk through, especially at night. We decided not to go to the street because somehow it felt a little sketchy at that time. I know it's probably just me, but I just didn't feel comfortable, so we just left. We just walked through that street and we got to this place right here. It's like a whole bunch of souvenirs and trinkets and stuff that they sell. But they also have the cafes in the corner. So it feels a little bit better because there's a lot of tourists. But we're gonna go to the next stop, or the next landmark. It's somewhere here. It's actually called the Monastiraki Flea Market. This flea market is connected to the Monastiraki Square we went to earlier. Like I said, this market is filled with stores, shops, restaurants, and cafes. You'll see a lot of tourists here because it's not only known for being one of the main shopping districts of Athens, but it's also popular for bargain shopping. It stretches all the way down there. Crazy. So this place, this flea market is very busy. There's a lot of people going back in and out. But we're gonna get out of here and we're gonna go to an ancient Greek architecture. I don't know what it's called, but I'll put a tag on it. Let's go. So since we got our tickets yesterday, we just have to go here. And this whole area right here, this whole area which we're gonna explore right now, is called the Athenian Agora, right? The ancient Athenian Agora. And it's pretty much like behind it is the Acropolis, or I think this is the whole Acropolis, but it's the Parthenon's right there. But our first stop will be this structure right here. So this is the Stoa of Attalos. That's what it's called. The Stoa of Attalos was used as a commercial building or shopping center back from the time it was constructed in 150 BC. It was dedicated to King Attalus II, who once ruled Pergamon, which is now the modern-day city of Antalya in Turkey, from 159 to 338 BC. The Stoa, meaning a covered walkway, is a two-story building measuring about 377 feet long. It's made of marble and wood and was used until it was destroyed by fire in 267 AD. This building you see now is actually not the original. It's a reconstruction done in 1952. Alright, let's check it out. See what it looks like. It's all marble, that's for sure. Except the ceilings. That's wood. It's nice that they reconstructed this because you can see how it actually looked like. I can just imagine it full of people back then. And since it was used as a commercial building, it was probably filled with shops and people doing business. Anyway, today it houses the Museum of the Ancient Agora, which exhibits sculptures, coins, clays, pots, and other objects made of bronze and glass. So inside this structure, there's like sculptures like these, or like this, I should say. This is the statue of Apollo, and then there's more on this side. It's all lined up all the way over here. It's actually nice. It's very airy. A lot of air going through in and out. But we're just walking through this hallway where the statues are. And then we're gonna go upstairs and see the view upstairs.